But we also champion them, like finding new teams. Like if Erik gets an offer from another team, if Dolan gets an offer for another team, we're more than happy to, like, you know, promote that and support that transition. Always. But here we go, we're getting into our next series, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our red Terran player from the land of Brazil representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. The blue Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Here we go. We are going to be settling in. For now, Erik going for interesting, going for a 15, I believe. His initial 15. Going for a gas pool opener, something a lot more aggressive, and Erik is a very unorthodox player. Erik, he is a very unorthodox player. He's very aggressive as well, so I don't try to overthink things when it comes to casting Erik, because he does things his own way. He's crazy, man. He's crazy. Meanwhile, across the map, Kamikaze going for a much more standard opener, going for a Rax Expand. Meanwhile, Link Speed is prioritized, and we can see that we're pulling out of gas. So if you were here 2 weeks ago, we casted Erik versus an Inexorable in the finals, and Erik went for this opener every single game. Went for a fast gas into a pull, into a delayed hatchery, and what does this do? This means we have Link Speed. Really fast Link Speed for Erik. With this, he can go for some Link Aggression, and the goal is to deny mining at the natural. This is not for an all-in, because we pulled out of gas. We're not going for like a Bane Bust or a Roach Rush. It is Link Speed to deny mining to get economic damage done, and then to drone up. So it's an aggressive opener from Erik. Is going to be a little bit more aggressive. Meanwhile, back at home, we do see Kamikaze going for the CC on the high ground. I appreciate this. Kamikaze, with his SCV scout, he saw that the hatchery was late, so he knows that Lings are moving out. And he knows that if he had the CC on the low ground, it will most likely be delayed. So Kamikaze, playing it out safely, goes for it on the high ground instead, just playing things out safe and secure versus his opponent. Playing things out safe here against Erik. I love Erik so much. So enjoyable to watch. He's great. We love him. We love him. A lot of love for Erik. He's very reminiscent to Miyamika, actually. Like, Miyamika's another Southeast Asian Zerg player that also, like, does things his own way quite uniquely. Ooh, as the Reaper is going to be shut down. Link Speed does kick in. And Erik will be active with those Lings. Behind this, saturating his natural, getting into his third. And Lings are moving out. Now we can see that Kamikaze hasn't even taken his low ground, so these Lings can't really get any economic damage done, but in a way they're already doing that damage. They're containing Kamikaze to one base. That's all we need to do. And they check, they confirm the CC on the high ground. And Erik is just gonna lie in wait and try to get a read on when and where we expand. So Erik just containing his opponent. This safe opener from Kamikaze, as we're seeing here, there's some pros, there's some cons to it as well. Kamikaze getting into his 2-1-1 setup. Delayed third CC. Interesting. Early tank production as well. And with this tank, Kamikaze will finally expand. Finally take the natural. Take the natural instead. We'll now be able to expand. Meanwhile, back at home, Erik getting into roach play. Quite commonly. Does invest into roaches. Does play very roach heavy against Terran specifically. Tank out getting higher, working towards our eventual stim timing. Yeah, there's the add-on swap on the tech lab to go for stim. eBay for +1. And this is all looking decent, like decently solid here for Kamikaze. The downside is no map control. The downside is we have no Hellions, we have no drop play, we have nothing to be active on the map, so Kamikaze is stuck on 2 bases, and this gives Erik the opportunity to be greedy. Erik can drone. Erik can drone up, he can take a 4th base, he can tech up as well, throw down Evo chambers, work on upgrades. Erik isn't really one to be too greedy. Like, he's a very aggressive player, like, just, like, instinctually. He's very aggressive, so we can see that Erik is investing into roaches. He doesn't need to, but Erik just wants to make sure he feels safe. Safe and sound. Overlord gets picked up. do have an amount of roaches here to make sure we're secure. But again, from here, Erik should just be droning as much as he can. At least on 3 bases. There's a double Evo chamber to get into upgrades. Kamikaze working towards his stim timing. Once the medevacs pop out, once stim is done, then we can break out. Then we can go for a push. Until such a time, though, Kamikaze is stuck on 2 bases. Third CC's on the way, so it's not going to be a 2-base all-in out of our Brazilian Terran. We will eventually expand, but the base is quite late. And there we go. Looks like for now we're just going for a drop play. We're keeping the tanks back at home and moving out with our 2 medevacs. There we go, we have our double drop on the right hand side. We have our double drop just being active, just looking to contain and deny a 4th base. Erik has, again, is one not to be too greedy. So there is no 4th. We're just getting fully saturated on 3 bases, getting up to 66 workers, 66 even. Infestation bits on the way, that's going to be for hive tech, for infestors, if need be. Bio Army's being active, but Erik does keep up. He keeps up, he shuts down the Marines. Forces back the drop. Scouts into the main confirms that, again, there's no 2-base all-in. Erik does get eyes on the 3rd CC, and that tells him that he's safe to expand and take a 4th. He now knows that his opponent is being more macro-oriented. The Overseer also confirms the bio production as well. The roaches are moving out. We're going to be applying some pressure here across the map. But we have our tanks in position. Kamikaze should be okay. Should be able to hold on. Big tank volleys going up. Oh my god. We shut down the roaches. And this is also why that I was hoping that Erik would take this moment to be greedy, to get a 4th. The 4th is now on the way. A little bit later than we would have liked, but at least it's on the way. Erik could even try to double expand. For now, just taking the singular base. Hive is on the way. Again, we're so tech heavy here. Rushing into that hive. Hydrogen as well, looking to work towards the lurkers. And here we go, Kamikaze finally pushing out. The Biles! Well, they will connect. Oh, they do connect, and despite that, though, the army breaks through. The tank will siege, and the tank volleys go off. Not a bad trade for Kamikaze. The Biles! Oh, they take down 2 tanks. Very efficient Biles from Erik. Kamikaze unfortunately bunching up here against the Roach Ravager. Has to be careful, has to stay spread. Has to stay spread out. Drop towards the north. Oh, not quite committing. There we go, triple drop on the right hand side. Kamikaze keeping his tanks back at home after the initial kind of failed aggression from Kamikaze. And we spoke about the tech of Erik. There's the Lurker Den. We're working towards Lurker Viper. Hydra Lurker Viper. We're getting there. Now, for the time being, Erik has limited anti-air, so these drops, they can go by quite freely here as the Biles. Okay. We're okay, we're okay. We don't have that much anti-air, so that these drops, they can dip between the bases, they can threaten the mineral lines. Ooh. The Medevacs do take a lot of hits. We have safety infestors on the way, Vipers as well. Drops still being active. Kamikaze taking another base. Overall, Erik is going to be able to keep up. And now that the hive is done, we can work towards those upgrades. We can work towards Lurker range, adaptive talons. Oh, that's going to be a kill. It's going to be a kill on the hatchery. We got a fungal, but very little follow-up. One medevac goes down. At the same time, the tanks are exposed. They are exposed. 2 tanks go down. Ducklings, 3 tanks go down even. Very efficient trades here from Erik, and he wants to get rid of these roaches. Remember, as we lose and bleed out roaches, we're replacing them with hydras. 15 hydras on the way. We're ready. We're getting ready for those lurkers. Same time pushing forward, another tank goes down. We're down to 2 tanks. Bio Army is pushing forward, but again, the backbone here is lacking. Do we have a Blinding Cloud? We do have one. Going for the Power Bomb instead. A bold move. The tanks will siege, and Erik is in a bit of trouble. Yeah, he is in trouble. The Bio Army stimming on forward. We break through the initial defensive line. We have 16 roaches on the way. And the Kamikaze, can we break through? Roach Warren goes down, no more roaches. Again, Erik just barely didn't have enough to defend. Barely didn't have enough to survive this. Go Roach Ravager coming in. Trying to collapse on this army. Fungal will connect. Marauders are going down. It looks like with reinforcements, Erik, he will break out. It was close. It was close, but we clean up the tanks and Kamikaze has to back off. I mean, I say that. He picks up, dropping towards the northern bases. Getting the Infestor. Oh my god. Not bad. Infestor goes down. Kamikaze pulls away. Back at home, fully saturated on 4 bases. The economy here of Kamikaze is pretty comparable, if not better than that of Erik. Erik is only on 73 drones. Only on 73 workers. This is the downside here for Erik's style, is because he's so aggressive, he very rarely is like greedy and drones up too much. He's always staying on a bit of a lower worker count, and that does give Kamikaze the opportunity to bounce back and to keep up. As a reminder, remember, Kamikaze was stuck on 1 base and even stuck on 2 bases for quite some time. But because Erik wasn't too greedy or didn't take advantage of that too much, then that meant that Kamikaze was able to recover. Didn't matter that he was on a lower base count. Still able to keep up and overwhelm his opponent. Army slipping on forward, going for the hatchery. Erik pulling back. Erik did just drone up to 79. So Erik is now at a more ideal worker count. But do we have the army? Do we have the army we need? Erik going for a big lurker counterattack. He's crazy. Lurkers, they move out across the map. And getting on top of the production. Rax is under fire and Kamikaze turns everything around. And can he collapse on this? Can he punish this? This is an expensive army. Here we go for the scan. The spread is decent. Oh, we're going to bleed out a lot of Marines, but we clean up every single lurker. At the same time, here comes the second army from Erik. Does move out. Gets a power bomb. Kamikaze still holding his own. Again, that was an expensive loss for Erik. Losing how many lurkers? 11. 11 lurkers went down. For 25 Marines. Erik has to back up. Erik pulling back and massing up his own Ling Roach Ravager. Additional lurkers on the way. And it looks like we're going to be calming things down a little bit here. Kamikaze is expanding, but he's not moving out. He doesn't really have the supply to work with at the moment. His production was under fire, and now he's working towards Ghost. Tank, Liberator, Ghost is going to be the ideal late game composition here for Kamikaze. Is the ideal. Fires up. They graze the CC. Do graze the command center. Triple up towards the right hand side. Oh! Oh my god. Bit of a missed rally there from Kamikaze running into the lurkers. Tank is shut down. The drop is going for the Ravagers though. We do shut down every single Ravager, not bad. Ravagers are cleaned up. Kamikaze still being active at the same time. Lings, they catch transferring workers. SCVs are falling. Full medevacs, 2 medevacs go down. And where's the support? The tanks are exposed. Yeah, we're caught with our pants down. A line of tanks fall. Kamikaze just didn't have enough to support that. Nice snipes. Oh god. Oh, the ghost. One more volley. One ghost goes down. A lot of damage dealt to the Terran army. And Kamikaze is stuck on 4 bases. He doesn't get his 5th. Does need it to get up and running. And Erik, he's pulling Kamikaze apart. Oh my god, 4 free tanks! Tanks go down to pure Ling. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, rough losses for Kamikaze. Again, he's just being picked apart at this point. He was holding his own, but now we got a Nidus Worm into the main base. We have the main army pushing towards the fourth. And lurkers are wreaking havoc everywhere. In the main, on the front lines. They distract the main army of Kamikaze and drag him out of position once again. Oof. Massive spine shots. 18 SV's planetary GG gets called, and Erik will take game number 1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Erik will take the first game here. But that was not the easiest of games. That was quite back and forth. Kamikaze was holding his own for most of that game. I would say it wasn't until the later half or even the later third of that game where Erik was able to get into an ideal army. Where Erik was able to get into the ideal army composition, able to get into 80 workers as well. Finally, like, Erik got a decent economy, and at that point he was able to start to overwhelm his opponent, pick him apart, suddenly gain map control, be active on the map as well. Erik got into his stride towards the end there, and we saw what an Erik in form can look like. But up until that point, again, like, Kamikaze was able to hold his own and keep up, and we'll see if we can bounce back. We'll see if we can force an ace match. Personally, I would love to see more of these two players. I'm greedy like that as a caster. Get all the games, papi, all the games. Give. Sure, I'm biased towards Erik, true, but at the same time, wouldn't be opposed to a back and forth. As we are getting ready for game number 2. Are getting ready. Just catching up with the chat. Just catching up. But we need you. Esther. Good morning, Rowdy. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. 14 pool, 15 hatch. I believe it was either a 15 hatch or a 15 pool. It was one of the two. But yes, that is Erik's go-to opener. Well, we can pay a little bit closer attention here in our next game. South American tournament? I'm from Europe. It is a Brazilian tournament. For Brazil, papi, for Brazil. Only for Brazilians. Like, do you own the CranKy Ducklings? I'm a co-founder. I'm a co-founder of the Ducklings. Myself and Kuro, we founded it together. Kuro does a little work behind the scenes. Every now and then she does cast, but she's been very expressive that she doesn't like casting. she's not really one to cast too much. But she does a lot of work behind the scenes, like on spreadsheets and on the technical aspects. Fun fact, all the overlays, for example, all the overlays that you can see before you or on our streams are constructed by Kuro. So overlays, thumbnails, like, I make the thumbnails, but like Kuro makes like all the templates and like visually what they look like and all that stuff. Aesthetically even. Likewise, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff was set up by Kuro. So like more like of the administrative things in a way done by her. I'm like on-screen talent. I do a lot of work behind the scenes as well, but I'm like mainly on-screen talent. But here we go. We're getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our Brazilian Terran player, the Red Terran representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings, leading the series 1-0. One game away from advancing on to the grand finals. It is Erik. Here we go. And it isn't just me and Kuro, for example, like Yaku's also a Duckling, and Yaku also helps a lot when it comes to casting. Steel Mode used to be the same as well. Steel Mode used to cover all of our amateur events, and he still does pop up from time to time. And we have many others in the CranKy Ducklings, like we have Milk and Cookies, we have Asher Bro, who currently went back to studying, so Asher hasn't been as available to cast as of late, but was casting a lot last year specifically, in 2023. Asher was casting a lot. We've had Chase on. We've had a lot of the Ducklings. Quirky as well back in the day. Alex. So the CranKy Ducklings is a team of casters and players and organizers and admins. We do what we can. Do what we can. I know that in current year, like I'm mainly solo casting a lot, but in years past, especially like 2020 and 2021, I used to have, ideally I would have a co-caster for each tournament series. Like I'd have Yoda Slim for Sentimiento and Batalla de las Américas, like Latin American tournaments. I'd have Milk for American tournaments. I'd have Yaku for Oceanic events. But not as many people are free nowadays. Smurge, baby, Smurge. I'm lonely. Well, that's slowly changing. Like a couple of days ago, I was casting ESL Americas with Chicken Man. Like, I would love to do that regularly with Chicken Man, just like every week, ESL Americas. I have Yaku for ESL Asia. I would love to have someone for this tournament. I was hoping I could get Darking, but Darking's been busy. For those who don't know, Darking, he works for Twitch. He used to be like the Latin American like admin for StarCraft. He used to be like the guy, and we cast a lot together. But love for Darking. But nowadays he's busy working for Twitch, so busy. But we're settling it. We are going to be settling it. I know I said earlier that I was going to pay attention to the opener of Erik, but this time I believe it was a Hatchgas pool. I believe a much more standard opener from Erik, getting into a Roach Warren behind this. Once again, Roaches are Erik's go-to in this matchup. It's his go-to in ZvT. Meanwhile, across the map, Kamikaze getting into a very aggressive build of his own. Wait, what? This is a TVT build. That's a second starport. Okay. There's a lot going on. Okay, enough reminiscing about the past. Kamikaze is going for a second starport. Now, a 2-port, 2-base all-in is a thing in TVT. The goal of this opener is to get into initially Vikings for air control, then into Liberators. That is a tech lab though. Is this 2-port BC? We should have seen a fusion core by now. This could just be 2-port Mass Banshee, right? This has to be Mass Banshee. As there we go, the tech lab is now done. Banshee production should be commencing. Meanwhile, across the map, we're getting to Roaches. Erik is building up towards a Roach push. Overlord Scout is coming in, but we should deny the Overlord. Yeah, the Viking will shut it down. The Marines as well. We deny the Scout. Erik is in the dark. He has no idea what's going on. No idea what is happening. Actually, bro, it's funny as heck. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we can work well together at times. Work well. But Erik is going to be committing. I mean, the Banshees will help. The Banshees will eventually clean up everything ground related. But the problem is that we need time. The Banshees, they take time to produce. We're about to have one Banshee. We're doubling down with Cloak and with Hyperflight Rotors. That is Banshee speed. But here we go. Erik, he cut workers at 40. Roach, Ravager, Ling. It's all or nothing. The wall is going to be knocked down. The first Banshee has arrived, but we're going to get damage done nonetheless. Kamikaze, he evacuates. I love this. He does evacuate. The Miles don't quite connect. Deepers are falling. Mass supply block here for Kamikaze. And can we break down that front door? Lings, they take control of the low ground. We need to break through that depot. Oh, big Hellion shots here on the Lings. Lings have to back off. Mass repair on the depot. And the depot will stand strong. And behind this, Erik is droning. Erik is droning up. He does take control of the low ground, but Kamikaze barely lost anything. He's still on a good worker count. 39 SCVs plus mules. He retakes control of the low ground. Lings back off. And now we're getting... Oh, we're still supply blocked. If it wasn't for the supply block, Kamikaze could pop off. He still can. We get 3 Banshees. Spores are now on the way. Did we scout the main? Erik, he did not see the production. Doesn't realize how committed we are. The wall is solid. The wall is back up and running. Erik gonna try and knock it down. Banshees are moving out. 1 Spore is okay, but Banshees can still get damage done. They can try to bypass the Spore. They're going for the Queen. Yeah, Queen goes down. Erik is in trouble. Erik is in a bit of trouble here. Queens rotate, but they need detection. No detection. Second Queen goes down. Third Queen goes down. No more Queens, and Kamikaze can win the game with pure Banshee. At the same time, though, Lings, they bust into the natural, and Banshees are racing home. They bust into the main. And Lings in the main base. SCVs are falling left and right. These Hellion volleys are pretty good though. So much splash damage here on the Lings. We have 14 SCVs meanwhile across the map. Yeah, another Queen falls. But we clean up one Banshee. We clean up two Banshees. We overextend. The Banshees overextended. The one Spore doing so much of the back line. Spire is on the way for Mew to play, which makes sense. Nothing shoots up. It's Hellion Banshee. Nothing does shoot up. Erik down to 28 SCVs. We have one Viking from earlier. Hellions are moving out. Now, what is scary here is that, sure, Erik is working towards Mutas, but what about Hellions? Like, what do we have to defend the low ground? Or to defend against Hellions? The mineral line, we've been droning! Oh, boys, they're being pulled. Drones are going down. The barbecue is real. Oh my god, we roast up 14 drones in an instant. 16 workers go down and we're not done. We're breaking into the natural as well. Again, Erik taking too many losses. 22 drone kills. Ay, ay, ay. And we scout the Spire. Big moment here for Kamikaze. He sees everything. And we're still not done. Getting to our Mass Banshee. Oh, we have detection. Ooh. Okay, Erik, he's able to hold his own against the Banshees. And we'll be able to shut this down. Oh, the Viking! Viking gets punished as well. Banshee splitting up. Across the map, Lings trying to knock down that front door, but Hellions are in position. And we're playing mech. It is going to be mech here. We're getting to Hellions and Cyclones. Viking production underway. Remember, the Spire was spotted, so we're getting ready for the Mutas. We are getting ready. Now, Erik still has a worker lead. He's on 65 workers. 65 drones. He's the brains, you're the eye candy. True, true. That's why I don't wear pants. Kappa. Erik is going to be rotating around. Does threaten the main. Third CC on the way. Soon we land on location. And oh my god. So Erik is going to rotate away. So far, the Mutas haven't done much. We have Hyperflights, not rotors. Oh god. I almost said Magfield accelerators. The other one, something engines. Hurricane, that's it. Hurricane engines on the way for Kamikaze, getting into battle mech. Embracing Hellion Cyclone. Third CC now being taken. Kamikaze, he is catching up economically. Remember, we spoke about this, but Erik, he's not one to drone. Despite having a fourth base, he has not saturated that fourth. He could, he needs to. But he's focusing on Lings and Ravagers. Erik, his mind, it's built a little bit different. He's just focusing on just attack on the army. Denies the Cyclone upgrade. Picks up 2 Cyclones, backs off. Not bad. And here comes the Roach Ravager again. Erik, he has that killer instinct. He's on sub 3 base saturation. 63 drones, that's all he has, but he has a massive army. And we're not ready. Kamikaze's not ready for this. GG, well played gets called, and Erik, he knocks through that front door, breaks into the third base, and will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Erik, as he does take the series in the end and advances on to the grand finals. GG, congratulations. My condolences to Kamikaze. Again, it was a very chaotic game, and hey, the Hellions were popping off, the Banshees doing a lot as well. It was back and forth, but Erik did eventually overwhelm, was able to build back up into his Roach Ravager and knock down that third base. We just didn't have enough of an army, didn't have enough in position, and congratulations. Congratulations to Erik. GG, well played. We'll advance on to the grand finals, and do we have an opponent? I believe Cosmos is mid-series. I believe Cosmos is covering the lower matches. Is he still in the quarterfinals? No shot.